Recently, my 54-year-old dad and my 52-year-old mom have divorced. This wasn't a surprise to me though. However, a week after the divorce was finalized, my father got a new girlfriend named Sophia who's 26. I wasn't mad, but I felt like it was a little too soon. At the end of the day though, it's not my business, but I told my dad I couldn't accept her as my new stepmother as it was too soon and she was only 2 years older than me. He said this was okay, but he hopes in the future I can come around to it. Eventually, my 3-year-old twins met my dad's girlfriend and they didn't like her. They were asking me stuff like who is she and other questions. After she noticed my kids' favoritism towards their biological grandmother, she yelled at me and told me I was raising my kids wrong because they don't treat her like that. I calmly told her that they would eventually come around, but she wouldn't listen and kicked me out of my dad's house. A few weeks later, my husband and I found out that I was pregnant. We wanted to wait a while to tell my family, and at the next family dinner, I told everyone the news. Everyone was happy for me and my husband, but especially my dad's girlfriend. Keep in mind, she still hadn't apologized for her outburst, and I still felt like I couldn't accept her, so when she started saying things such as, I can't wait for my grandbaby, I felt a little uncomfortable, but assumed she just liked babies. That was until she decided that if it was a girl, then we would call her Elia after her grandmother, or if it was a boy, then Samuel after her granddad. I flat out told her no as I had never met them, and she blew up in anger. She said I never took in consideration her IDs and that she wishes my stupid baby wasn't even born. I stormed out and messaged my dad saying that I decided I wouldn't let her see me, my kids, or my baby until she apologizes. I've gotten many angry texts from her and her friends since then. One of her friends even told me what she told them, and it turns out she flipped the whole story around. Am I in the wrong?
Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out for how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? Mom passed away 4 years ago and my sister and I received inheritance. All Mom owned was split between us equally except for her house. In her will, she wrote that the house goes to whoever has kids in the future to help the grandchildren. Then mentioned that if me and my sister have kids, we'll split house value in half. It was obvious my sister and her previously child-free husband wanted to keep the house so bad because within weeks of the funeral she announced she was pregnant but couldn't keep it since she announced miscarriage days later. She didn't stop till she had a son a year later. She kept getting involved in my marriage, advising me to reconsider because of my husband's condition that had us suffer from infertility. He was also in remission for a mental condition. Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out after how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? My sister kept referring to my mom's house as officially her son's since she has a kid and I don't/won't. Till my husband and I found out we were expecting recently. He invited family over to make the announcement, and when she heard, she was shocked. She asked if I was serious, then called me unbelievable to go as far as to lie just so I get to share her kid's house. She said even if I was pregnant, we shouldn't be parents and brought up my husband's BPD. She ignored the fact that he was recovered and brought up his disability. My husband heard but just kept smiling. I said it was none of her business and my husband said that she just didn't want to share the house. It escalated and I told her and her husband to leave. My family wants me to apologize. Am I the asshole for asking my wife if she's jealous of our daughter? My daughter's 15 and she'll be starting year 11 at school when summer's over. The school will be having a prom at the end of the year. My wife, 44 female, was talking to our daughter about her own prom. She mentioned that she still owns the outfit that she wore. She showed my daughter a couple pictures of her too. Later, when we were getting ready for bed, my wife noticed that her wardrobe was open. On closer inspection, she saw that the outfit she was discussing earlier was gone. She went into our daughter's room to see her wearing it and taking pictures of herself in the mirror. Obviously, having our daughter go into her wardrobe and try on her things without asking was annoying, but I thought my wife's reaction was a little extreme. Am I the asshole for asking my wife if she's jealous of our daughter? My wife asked, "What the F do you think you're doing?" and demanded my daughter change out of it immediately. My daughter was almost in tears from how my wife spoke to her. I tried to speak to my wife about why she was so angry, but she kept saying our daughter is not to touch her things without her permission. I understand this, but I don't see why she's so enraged about it. My wife and daughter look very similar and they've been called sisters in the past. Based on this, I asked my wife if she felt jealous after seeing our daughter wear her dress. When I said this, she got even more upset and she was going to sleep in our spare bedroom. She didn't even speak to me today. Did I go too far? Am I the asshole for calling my fiance's sister an idiot for her rude comments about the number of siblings I have? To start, I have 8 other siblings, 9 of us in total. 2 of my brothers are biological and the rest are foster siblings, but we're all very close. To me, they're my family, so I don't really introduce them as anything other than my brothers and sisters. I'm getting married in a few months and all my brothers are going to be groomsmen, while sisters were asked by my fiance to be her bridesmaids. My fiance's sister Kate is someone we don't talk too much, but her parents convinced her to let Kate be part of it. Recently, our families met up for a barbecue at our place, and this is the first time her family meets mine, except her parents because they couldn't make it. I introduced my siblings to everyone, and everyone got to talking. Am I the asshole for calling my fiance's sister an idiot for her rude comments about the number of siblings I have? Her sister said, "Your parents seriously had 9 kids?" She said it was so much disgust, like she seemed mad. I told her yes, and Kate goes on about how she thinks my parents were selfish and reckless for never figuring out how to use a condom. Also, don't they know how stupid they are having so many kids when there's already overpopulation? Part of me found it funny, but the other found it really annoying. I told her how they were foster parents and only 2 of my brothers are actually biologically related, not that it's any of her business. She looked embarrassed and apologized, but then got mad. She said I could have mentioned it to stop her from saying the wrong thing. I told her how about next time she just doesn't say anything at all and avoid looking like an idiot. Am I the asshole? Story time about how my mom kicked me out of the house for having a white boyfriend. I, 18 female, got with my boyfriend Jace, 19 male, after we met at the mall. We instantly just clicked. We would make plans to see each other almost every day, but we had to do it behind my mom's back. After about a month of us sneaking around, I finally asked my mom if I could go over to his house. I let her know that his entire family would be there. She agreed but stated that she wanted to meet him and his parents first. I'd always been that way, always helicoptering over me and controlling my life. Now, here's something important to know. I am black and my boyfriend is white, and to be blunt, my mom absolutely hates it. So I told her she couldn't. Story time about how my mom kicked me out for having a white boyfriend, part 2. Eventually, we got tired of sneaking around, so I invited him over to meet my mom. When he arrived, you could see the look of disappointment all over her face. I tried to play it off saying, "Oh, you're Jace." She looked disgusted, and watching the two interact felt like I was watching an episode of SVU. It made me livid and anxious because I could tell he was getting uncomfortable. The moment he left, she bombarded me. She said, "Why don't you find someone your own color, not mixed with others? Do you want to embarrass me?" It was, "He doesn't really like you. Nobody on that side does. He's only going to degrade you. It'll never change." I told her I'm an adult and I can be with whoever makes me happy. This hurt a lot, but it got worse from there. Part 3 of when my mom kicked me out for having a white boyfriend. Months went by of constant criticism, but I tried to ignore it. One day I let my mom know that I'd be coming home late because I was going to a party, and she asked if that boy was going to be there. I said yes, and she said, "Leave your keys, pack your things, and leave." I did, but I asked her why, and she said that because I was starting to act like their people. When I told Jace what happened, his family let me into their home with open arms. After 9 months of living with Jace, my mom reached out. She explained how she needed me to move back in to help her with bills. She said she'd finally be accepting of me and my relationship, and I said no. I'm torn. Something that she also doesn't know is that we're expecting. Am I the asshole for making my sister buy me a new seat for my car? My 21 female sister lives in the same house as me, 19 male, and she was 9 months pregnant at the time of this story. It was around 6 p.m. when her boyfriend burst into my room yelling that they needed a ride to the hospital. I obliged, but there isn't really a hospital near me. It's around 40 minutes away from my home, and since the car I drive is a 1954 Cadillac Series 6.2, it tops out at around 80, which only made it longer. Long story short, my sister had the baby in the backseat of my car. When we got to the hospital, we learned there were no complications, which I'm glad about. One thing though, when I left to get my car, it smelled horrid. I could barely make it to my house without throwing up. I sat in my driveway and took the seat out, and as I expected, it was ruined. Am I the asshole for making my sister buy a new seat for my car? I didn't want to stress my sister out right after she had a baby, so I just drove my car without a rear seat. After around a week, I called her asking for $835 as the seats in my car are two-tone and have inlay material. She said the cost was way too steep. I told her that she's lucky I can upholster it myself. It's that much for material only. She said that I should just pay for it myself because she just had a baby and all her money is going towards it. I reminded her that I chauffeur people around as my side job, so I need it done quickly. She refused. I said, "If you don't pay me, I will take you to small claims court." She still refused. A few weeks later, I ended up getting $900 from her. She said, "I hope you're happy because I'm never talking to you again." My family's divided on this. Am I the asshole for being ungrateful over my high school graduation gift? This happened years ago, but it's still brought up by my parents. I, 24 female, am the youngest daughter, with my sisters being L, 29 female, and G, 27 female. Ever since I was young, I always felt like my sisters were treated differently. Since they were closer in age, they did everything together: ice skating lessons, horseback riding lessons, etc. Meanwhile, I was always on the sidelines watching them, like literally. I'd sit at wherever they were at and just watch them. My parents claimed I was too young to do those things, but I quickly learned they probably just didn't want to have to drive me somewhere else or spend money to enroll me either. I also became in charge of taking care of my sisters. Am I the asshole for being ungrateful over my high school graduation gift? I became in charge of taking care of my sisters, being that I had to make sure that everything for their lessons was packed or that they ate/packed their lunch, even though I'm way younger than them. Once I even got yelled at by my mom because I didn't make sure that they packed their lunch when I was 15 and they were 18 and 20 years old. I also realized when I was in high school that my parents just liked the excitement of having their children at a new stage in life. Since my sisters are only 1 year and 10 months apart, they graduated high school and started college within a year of each other. Meanwhile, I started high school when they both graduated, so it wasn't exciting to my parents when I was in high school or graduated high school. Am I the asshole for being ungrateful over my high school graduation gift? The day of my high school graduation, my mom kept complaining about having to attend because she already experienced it twice before. So the day had already started off bad. After we came back home from the ceremony, my dad gave me a gift, which was a small Tiffany & Co. bracelet. I was happy because I love Tiffany & Co. and it was pretty. My mom started getting all mad because she told my dad they had agreed to buy me a pen from there, which was cheaper than the bracelet because my sister Elle's 22nd birthday was going to be in a couple weeks. I got mad and started yelling about how Elle got a brand new Porsche for her high school graduation and G got a $5,000 purse for her graduation, but a $500 bracelet was too expensive for me. My mom called me an ungrateful brat.